Good morning. My name is Daniel Cornwall. I'm the Internet and Technology Consultant with the Alaska State Library. And today we're having a webinar to learn more about one of the many Internet tutorial resources out on the web, Techboomers, which was founded by Steve Black, who is our presenter today. And he will be And it's an interesting story of how it got started. I'll let him address that. Want to take care of two housekeeping notes, and that is, well, actually three housekeeping notes. If you have a microphone, can I get you to mute it if you're not talking? We seem to be right on the border of a group where people could ask their questions vocally. And if we get much larger or if we have a lot of feedback, we may have to mute people and do all of our questions from chat. So that's one. And you can mute yourself if you mouse over your name. You should see a little microphone. And if you right-click on it or click on it, yes, you'll get muted just like I see people doing. So that's one note. The next housekeeping note is if you're not seeing the chat window, you want to go up towards the top of your screen on the right and click on the gray chat button. The chat window will open and the chat button will turn blue. And the last little bit that I have is in the chat window where you type stuff, it may say send to me or moderators privately. If you click on the down arrow next to the send to, you can change that to everyone. And I do encourage people to make comments along the way. And, you know, we hadn't exactly arranged how Steve was going to stop for questions, but either he can stop for questions or you can type your questions in the chat and we'll address them as they come up. And so with those housekeeping details out of the way, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Steve.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel. It's really good to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to share the Techboomers story and kind of how we're trying to support digital literacy around the world and especially in North America. It's been very exciting for our team since we launched in early February or early 2015 this year. We've been really trying to get ourselves out there and meet different people in the space that have similar goals and values and build relationships and just figure out how we can all really work together. And just after we launched, I went to a Library Association conference, the Ontario Library Association here in Canada, based on the recommendation of a friend who learned about Techboomers and mentioned how librarians and libraries would potentially find it very, very useful. And I went there and met a lot of really great people, and right away I saw a lot of opportunity to partner with them and to work together in a lot of different ways. And so this presentation is really about sharing some of those ideas and explaining what Techboomers is and how it can be useful for libraries. So hopping into it, just to kind of go over at a high level what will be covered in the webinar. First off, the importance of digital literacy. I'm sure everybody here obviously understands, that digital literacy is important in a lot of different ways, but I just want to share some of the ideas that we have and about the different types of websites that are out there that we teach people how to use and how those can be useful. Then we'll get into just describing what Techboomers is and who can use it, and then I'll go through a quick site tour to kind of show you guys, I'm sure a lot of you have checked out Techboomers, but just to take you through some of the features of the site would be probably a good idea. And then kind of the main topic is how libraries can leverage Techboomers to teach digital literacy. So I have a number of kind of slides on that. And then we're going to have a poll at the end. On our last webinar we did, or actually the last two, the attendees really liked that they got to choose which course that we're going to release next. So we'll have a little poll at the end and let you guys decide an upcoming course for us. So getting into it, the importance of digital literacy. I think we can all agree, probably for the most part, that digital literacy can improve lives in many ways. And that's for people of all ages, for sure. Obviously, one of the biggest aspects is the social aspect. Using sites like Facebook and Skype to stay connected with friends and family. Facebook too, you know, if we're thinking about especially older adults and seniors, Facebook is a great way to connect with, you know, stay connected with friends and family, see pictures of grandchildren and stay connected, send messages, chat, and all that good stuff. Skype is an amazing service. Obviously, there are a lot of phone services out there on the internet and different apps and that, but Skype is obviously one of the most popular. But, you know, just the ability to be able to video chat with family and grandchildren across the country is just an amazing thing, and such a better alternative to, you know, the long distance phone bills that can get pretty pricey. Other social websites to meet new people with similar interests. Real-time news and information is an amazing thing as well. It wasn't too long ago when, you know, you'd have to either tune into the 6 o'clock news or the nightly news or the morning news, so you'd have to wait a number of hours, or read the newspaper the next day to find out about what's going on in the world. And sites like Twitter change that and, you know, totally around so that, you know, if you're online and connected, you know, you'll learn about what's going on in your community and around the world in real time. So lots of great social services out there that can improve quality of life. The internet and apps and technology in general is a great way. There's so many different apps and websites that you can use to save money. Free and less expensive entertainment. Netflix is one of my favorite ones that I recommend to people that are new to the internet. A lot of people are still paying cable bills up to $50 or $100, and Netflix is a way to you know, stream TV online, obviously, and movies, whatever you want, whenever you want, with no commercials. And it's only like $8.99 is the lowest package per month, compared to really expensive cable bills. That's just such an amazing service, and there are other solutions out there, video streaming other than Netflix as well. Using classified sites to save money, to buy things, buy used goods, also to sell, you know, your used goods like eBay and Craigslist are great services. Discount and coupon websites, of course, like Groupon, Living Social. Travel booking websites like Airbnb and Expedia, just a lot of different websites that if you know how to use them, you can save a lot of money, which is great. And one thing I actually mentioned, intended to mention early on was, you know, as far as asking questions, yeah, please do. I'd like this webinar to be as interactive as possible. I think, yeah, probably the best way to be is to post them in chat. So feel free at any time. I'll keep an eye on the chat window as I go through the slide deck and the tour. And I'll just answer them as we go. So if you have any ideas or questions or suggestions about anything I'm talking about, please feel free to share it in the chat window, and I'll keep an eye on it for sure. Another great aspect of, you know, digital literacy on the internet is that you can basically learn anything online for free. You know, the fact that there are university level courses on sites like Coursera and Udacity and Khan Academy, I mean, that's just amazing. You know, to get essentially to get a university level education, you don't need to pay, you know, $8,000 in tuition a semester, or, you know, I guess that's maybe per year, but, you know, just to have that information at your fingertips, that type of education is just fantastic. Services like Google, Wikipedia to find answers to any and all questions, as long as you know how to kind of filter and process and know which information you can actually trust. That's just an amazing thing. You know, anytime you know, you're having a debate with someone about, oh, who is that, you know, that actor in that movie, or, you know, any types of questions like that, you know, Google will solve that for you pretty quickly and resolve that debate. You know, you can use sites like StumbleUpon and so many others to discover new interests and passions and learn about them. And one of my favorite websites, my girlfriend and I, every Tuesday night, we have a TED Talk Tuesday that we call it. It basically, they have videos and they have blog posts as well about what's going on with the world of technology and science and many other different niches as well, as far as, you know, just like innovators and what's going on in the world when it comes to advancement and even psychology and all these amazing topics. You can watch those videos for free online. Oh, I see we have a question from Jessica. She asked how Techboomers makes money. We have a slide on that. Actually, I added that slide at the request of Daniel when he saw my last webinar. So we'll definitely get to that very soon. And just so you know, Jessica, I think you sent that message to me privately. So as Daniel mentioned, you'll see below the chat window, or in the middle of the chat window, I guess, where it says send to. if you want your questions to be seen by everybody, make sure that that is set to everyone. So moving on, so yeah, I will definitely answer that very soon. I think it's about 2 or 3 slides away. Aside from that, technology can just make life easier in so many ways, whether it's shopping from your own home on sites like Amazon, file storage, and other cloud-based apps. A couple weeks ago, my laptop basically just stopped working. And obviously, you know, I'm running Techboomers, and we're sharing all these files, content and planning documents and that. And had I not had all of them stored on Dropbox, I would have lost them all, which would have been obviously very devastating. And even I would have lost a lot of the webinar, the slide deck, for example, I would have lost, which would have been, you know, very painful. So, you know, cloud-based apps are just, you know, make life easier in a lot of ways. Family monitoring apps are really becoming very popular for the aging in place movement. Which for those of you who might not be familiar, that's basically older adults and seniors and, you know, people wanting to stay at home and live at home instead of going to a retirement living center or a long-term care facility. And so many different technologies are making that more possible to monitoring health and wellness of family members, and also monitoring kids. And, you know, if you have children, there's different apps for that as well. And then 2 of my favorites, Google Maps for directions, can't go wrong. Basically, if you have Google Maps on your phone, it's very, very difficult to get lost. Sometimes I still find a way to do it, but I blame Google for that, although I probably shouldn't. And then Yelp, I use that site all the time to find places to eat when I'm traveling. It's just a great service altogether for restaurants and other types of stores and businesses to find them locally. So those are a lot of kind of different advantages and all the ways that technology and the internet can improve life. But something else that is super important to mention is that digital literacy will protect you online. These days, whether people like it or not, you know, everything is starting to go online. Here in Canada, there are a number of forms for taxes and different types of government forms and that are going online, and you have to, you know, connect to the internet and go to their website and submit the forms online these days. And obviously that, you know, what you're submitting a lot of the time is very sensitive materials. So, you know, if you basically need to be on a computer, and you're definitely going to want to have your computer safe and protected. So, you know, the first step with that is just understanding the dangers of the internet when it comes to online safety and online privacy. 2 separate things, but also very important. We have courses for both of those, 2 on safety, actually, and then 1 on privacy on Techboomers. Using proper protection when it comes to your computer, having proper antivirus software installed. There's other tools like password managers out there that just make storing your passwords and using strong passwords a lot easier. I use one called LastPass. We also have one that we actually promote on Techboomers called Sticky Password, which is a great solution for a password manager. Using best practices when it comes to online safety and privacy, you know, knowing which websites you can trust just by learning, yeah, those types of things, just using best practices and staying up to date with, you know, what's going on with when it comes to new internet threats and risks. You guys probably all remember Heartbleed that happened not too long ago, where the passwords were no longer secure on a variety of really high authority and trusted websites. And it's just important to stay up to date, to have a source, whether it's staying connected to Twitter or a blog or Facebook, you know, just to see, you know, to stay up to date with that information is really important to protect yourself online. I see Nancy has a question. Please name some of the family monitoring apps. I have a list of them, so I think at the end of the webinar, I'll see if I can find that list. If not, maybe I'll post it on the digitallearn.org website later on. There are a ton of them, and we don't teach people how to use any of them on Techboomers right now. We're focused more on websites, but we'll, yeah, why don't I do that? I'll post it on digitallearn.org. If you're not familiar with that website, I highly recommend you check it out. It's just a great way to connect and communicate with other people that are involved in digital literacy. And Susan has a question. Is the PowerPoint deck available? It will be. At the end of this presentation, on the last slide, there will be a link to a site called slideshare.net. It's already fully uploaded, so you can download it there and and access it there, or just view it from your web browser if that's what you want to do. So that link will come at the end of the webinar. So moving on, I guess if we can all kind of agree that digital literacy is important for a variety of reasons, the next question is, well, how do you teach it? Given the attendees today, obviously there are a ton of great ways to do it in the live setting, and we at Techboomers, we're really, and this is kind of an important point to make, we're not trying to replace the live training environment and the live classes at libraries and other nonprofits. We think it's just so important to have that initial engagement and to, especially for people that are brand new to computers, to have that one-on-one training or that classroom environment, and even to have it on an ongoing basis. We built Techboomers to really work with that, and we'll talk about some of the ways that we're trying to help people in the digital literacy space make their lives easier with our content. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So what is Techboomers? Techboomers offers free courses that teach people currently how to use popular websites and apps. In the near future, we will be adding courses around how to use programs like Microsoft Office, Word, Photoshop. We have a whole list of ones that we want to get to, but right now we're really focused on websites and apps because that's where we saw the biggest gap in the market. And there's a lot of people searching for content about how to use websites and apps, and there isn't a lot of great content out there right now. So that's where we're starting with. We just have a pretty small team right now. We have one full-time writer that works super hard to produce one course a week. And we'll also in the future get into devices, smartphones, cameras, TVs. We'd love to get into that stuff. Those devices are probably further, maybe mid-2016. But we'll see how everything goes. That's a long time away in the life of a new company. So another aspect that Techboomers provide, I guess a feature or a function, I guess would be a better way to put it, is that as we add more and more courses under different categories, and as you see across the top of our website, our menu is basically a list of different types of websites aside from Internet 101, which is courses about just general information about the internet. But as people surf the different categories and the different pages and categories of websites on Techboomers, it's a great way to learn and discover new types of websites. So for example, if someone comes to Techboomers to learn how to use Facebook, then they get clicking around and they see some of the options for online shopping. Maybe online shopping is something they've always wanted to do, and now they have a list of, I think we maybe have about 8 or 9 different online shopping websites. And they can kind of learn how to use them. So it's a great way to discover it. Initially, I referred to, and my team referred to Techboomers from this aspect to be as like the yellow pages of the internet. You have a general idea for a type of business that you want, or in this case, a type of website, and you can use Techboomers to find different types of options for each of those. So why do we build Techboomers? The idea came from helping teach my parents how to use websites, like mostly Facebook and a little bit of Skype and Netflix. I've always been the tech go-to person for my family, mostly my parents, but also my aunts and uncles. I sit down with them one-on-one and point out different things, and they take notes in a little notebook. But the thing is, I was always around to teach them. I was running a company back then. So I looked online for a resource, a Coursera-style website that they could basically self-learn, and I can help them fill in the blanks when they have questions and they're confused about things. And when I am home, I can sit down with them one-on-one and teach them. I didn't really find anything. There are a number of, as Daniel mentioned, other really solid resources out there. GCFlearnfree.org. I'm sure a lot of you know about it. So I'd highly recommend that one as well. They have really great tutorials and courses on things like operating systems and how to use programs. They touch upon websites, mostly social media. So we're trying to really fill the gap that they're not hitting by teaching people how to use all types of websites beyond just social media. So yeah, back to how the idea came. So what I did find, aside from a couple sites like GCF Learn Free, but when it comes to website tutorials, I found a lot of videos on YouTube and articles on sites like WikiHow and other user-generated content sites. But the problem was most of them were out of date. If you search something like how to create a Facebook account, you'll see a video in the top 10 results on Google that's 5 years old, which for someone like my mom coming to Facebook for the first time, to follow that video, I mean, Facebook's changed their design many, many times since then. So that video is essentially useless to her. And some of the other content that's even maybe a little more or a little not so out of date is just not detailed enough, or not necessarily written with an audience like my parents in mind, with relevant examples of why a website's useful and in a non-tech language. So with all that in mind, I've personally always looked for a more purposeful entrepreneur opportunity. I've started a couple companies in the past, and I've always wanted, like I said, yeah, something more purposeful where we're out there helping people. And Techboomers was just, you know, such an opportunity in my mind at the time to do that. And so that's really why we built Techboomers. Deb has a comment. Linda is way too technical for our users, but may want to learn software programs. Yeah. We have basic level courses for Office programs developed in-house, but they're waiting list to attend for sure, and expensive, yeah. Linda is a great resource. That's definitely for more advanced users. They really cover some high tech topics, even how to program, how to create websites. Linda would probably be like if let's say the digital literacy beginner classes at your libraries are, you know, high school. Techboomers would, I guess, be university, and Linda would be like doing your master's or PhD or something like that. And when it comes to different levels of difficulty of tech training, so yeah, that's a good point for sure. Oh, Kathy has a comment. She likes the resource on Denver Public Library. Yes, we've been in touch with a number of people from there, and yeah, they do a great job with their digital literacy training and have some really good resources for sure. So I recommend you check that out. So who was Techboomers built for? Obviously, it was built for people with limited computer skills. Given that Techboomers is on the internet itself, for someone to start using Techboomers, they do need some basic training. We recommend people that know how to browse the internet on a basic level, that can use email so they can actually sign up to Techboomers. We're focused on the 50-plus market, since they are generally the ones that do have limited computer skills versus, you know, other age groups. But again, we're really focused on anybody that has limited computer skills. We say that we're 50-plus adult focused, and in that way, we're all of our tutorials. And when we try to use relevant examples, like Facebook, we'll say, you know, all the different uses of Facebook, like, you know, seeing pictures of your grandchildren or your children. So that's how we kind of target for the 50-plus adult, but it's really open for anybody. Have a couple more comments. Alaska State Library has a subscription to Linda for staff, but yeah, very helpful. Yeah, I think other libraries as well have subscriptions for Linda too. I think they do. Keeping classes and handouts up to date is so time consuming. Absolutely, and that gets me back to this slide. Why we built Techboomers. We built it also for tech teachers, people that may be training family or friends how to use technology, but also, as I mentioned early on, for tech training organizations. And we'll get into a lot more detail about this, but we built Techboomers to make the lives of people that are doing tech training easier. And again, I'll get into more details about that, but that really hits home with Jessica's comment that it is very time consuming. So what we're doing, what we're encouraging libraries and nonprofits that do tech training to do is basically leverage our content however you want, whether it's printing up our articles and using them as handouts in your classes, whether it's sharing our videos on a screen, or maybe it's just encouraging people that come into the library to get on a computer and use Techboomers to start learning, and then maybe being around the student to support them when they have questions. So we're trying to do this in a lot of different ways. And yeah, Daniel's right. I saw that they updated their digital literacy guide. He sent me an email about that, and it has links to a ton of outside sources. So I definitely recommend that. They have a whole variety of different categories, everything from how to use programs to websites, obviously, and then internet safety. I definitely recommend that. Okay, so moving on. Okay, here's the slide. It was a little farther away than I thought to that initial question about how we make money. So the first and most important thing that I want to say is that we've committed, and this is super important to us, that all of our courses will always be free for both our users and our partners. It actually goes hand in hand with our marketing strategy, which is we drive a lot of traffic through search engine optimization. So as people search for things like how to create a Facebook account or what is Netflix, you know, our goal is to rank very high, and we're starting to do that in Google and other search engines. For us to be able to do that, though, we need to make all of our content and all of our pages available to search engine crawlers and spiders. So we cannot put our courses and our tutorials behind a paid wall or a user account wall, because then search engines wouldn't be able to find them, and then we wouldn't be ranking and we wouldn't get that traffic. So that is definitely a commitment we're making, is that everything will always be free, and that's really important to us. How we will be making money in the future, well, we started publishing ads in early August, mostly for our partners. We're starting to advertise a couple of the websites that we teach people how to use, like Match.com and Amazon Prime, although we don't have that course yet, but it is one of the options on the poll later today, or later in the webinar. But yeah, we really just started kind of playing around with ads to see, you know, click-through rates and how they might do in the future. We're not super focused on that. Right now, we're really just focused on putting out a lot of content and building awareness. And then as expenses grow over time, so too will we try to generate revenue to cover those expenses. Later in 2016, one of our revenue models is to establish sponsorship partners, as we're calling them, for different types of online sites and services. So for example, there are dozens of ways to stream music online, and we'd be looking to partner with one of them, let's say Spotify, which we already have a course for that we launched a couple weeks ago. We'd be looking to establish basically a sponsorship and a partnership with them, and they would essentially become our official music streaming partner. We would still provide courses on how to use all of their competitors, but we would advertise them throughout the site and maybe promote them in our social media and email marketing, those types of things. And this last point on how we make money, it's not a way we will, but it's a way we will not be making money. And that's that we are not and have no plans of selling usage data. That's a question I get often when I'm chatting with librarians and people in the nonprofit space. And online privacy is very important to them, and it's important to our users, so it's important to us. And that's a commitment that we're also making when it comes to revenue models in the future. It's not something we plan on doing. So moving on, site tour. So we will, just bear with me, I'll pull up a browser with Techboomers open on the screen. And if anybody has any other questions, it might be a good time to type them up if you have any. But here it is. Okay, so here is the home page. On my screen, the text seems very kind of pixelated. I don't know if it's coming up that way for you guys. I do apologize for that, but if you go to techboomers.com yourself, you'll see that it's not so bad.
Pretty clear to me, Steve.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, cool. So sorry about that, guys. I'm back now. Okay, so as I mentioned, if you look across the top, these are the different categories of courses that we offer for different types of websites. Everything from social, and here are a list of some of the most popular social websites out there. Facebook, Pinterest. We added some new ones recently, Instagram, Gmail, and Twitter, and all of the most popular ones, and we plan to add more to these in the future as well. LinkedIn is one that we want to add really soon because we know that that's important for sure and very popular with our audience. Entertainment websites, Netflix I mentioned. One to point out is Overdrive. Actually, on a webinar we did a couple months ago, actually with the Ontario Library Association, the one I mentioned earlier today, we let them choose what website we were going to teach next, and they chose Overdrive, which is, as all of you know, a very popular service with libraries and patrons of libraries. So we created a course around that. Online shopping websites, I'll just kind of open these up really quickly. I won't get too much into them, but yeah, lots of online shopping websites. I've mentioned a number of them already in the previous slides. Educational websites like Wikipedia, and Ancestry is another one that I know that libraries support people and have like the subscription so that Ancestry can be free for its patrons, which is great because using Ancestry as an individual user can be quite expensive. Well, we have a question. Zinio for Libraries app. Yep, we've had that recommended to us. It is one that we are hoping to add maybe within a couple months for sure. We also have daily living websites. These are kind of ones that make life easier from that slide. Google Maps, Yelp, and Dropbox, and Google Search, and lots of good ones like that. We also have a category for websites that are focused on older adults. Stitch.net is one of my favorites. They're a relatively new website out of San Francisco. It kind of takes the dating website model, but opens it up to more companionship as well, in addition to romantic relationships. But if you're looking for a companion or a friend to do different activities with, whether it's going for walks or playing cards or going to the movies or even traveling with, Stitch.net is a great way to connect with people in your area in that way. And lastly, the Internet 101 section. So here are our courses. We have an intro to the Internet, introduction to online safety, a whole course on passwords and how to create strong passwords, and then one on Internet privacy. These are some of our most popular courses and are super important for our readers and our visitors to learn, and highly recommend that you focus on these topics, which I'm sure a lot of you do, because they're just so important. So those are all a lot of the websites that we teach people how to use. So now, about 4 or 5 months ago, we added the ability for people to create accounts and log in and track their progress. So I will log in with one of my accounts right now. You can log in and create an account with Facebook, any Facebook account or a Google account. It saves the trouble of remembering a password and just makes the ability to log in with just one click, which is quite useful for sure. So I'll log in with my Facebook account. Okie dokie, so I'm logged in now. So I will go to the Facebook course. This is one I've already signed up for. We have these notifications that kind of help people and remind them to do different things, like whenever you create an account on a website, you should verify your email. I haven't actually done that yet with this account, so we're going to see this message probably on all of the pages. I won't do that now because that'll take a few minutes, but don't worry about these. They won't be there if you've confirmed your account properly. So anyways, our Facebook course is a great example. It's one of the first ones we launched. So all of our courses, we start off with these basic articles explaining what the website is. We always have a review of the pros and the cons, a glossary. We also cover topics like how much does it cost, is it safe, is it private, is it reliable, basically all the information that you need to make kind of a calculated decision of, is this a website you're interested in using. Then we get into more topics, more how-to topics and kind of how features work, how to create accounts, and then we have, as I mentioned, privacy and safety is super important, especially on social media sites and social networks like Facebook. So we have 3 articles that are all about how privacy works and how to change your settings, and Facebook lists, which is a great way to control your privacy on Facebook. And then how to use Facebook, which is kind of the bulk of a lot of our tutorials, or sorry, a lot of our courses, how to use different features. Oh, so we have a question from Kathy. Is this all documents you can read, or do you have a video and audio as well? Yes, we have we have about 40 plus courses right now. Video does take a lot more resources and time and effort to create, so we only have videos for I think about 7 or 8 of our courses right now. It is something we do plan on catching up on in the future, but most of the newer courses that we're releasing won't have videos, unfortunately. But like I said, it's something we'll be working hard probably later this year to catch up on, because the video is important. How often is the content updated? So all of our courses, like I said, we release one new course every Monday. It's difficult for us to consistently monitor all of our courses to double check them that it is up to date. So what we do is at the bottom of all of our pages, we have a comment box where you basically use your Facebook account to post comments. So that's where our users will give us feedback, and sometimes they'll contact us via contact@Techboomers or fill out a contact form to let us know. So we really do rely on our our users and for feedback from our users when when articles are out of date. And when they are, we do update them within 48 hours. That's something that, again, is very important to us. And in some cases, on websites we use, if I notice that Facebook changes their homepage or their interface, we'll update them ourselves and notice that. But that's difficult to do when I think we have over probably 600 tutorials right now. So it's quite a few, that's for sure. So I'll hop right into one of these courses. Well, actually, one last thing to point out. As I mentioned, you can track your progress as you work your way through the tutorials. So whenever a tutorial box, as I guess we'll call it, it has this green check mark, it means that you've completed it. And then this on the right side shows your progress along the course. So in this account, I've completed 8 of 18 tutorials. So I'll go into, let's say, the Facebook sharing tutorial. So you don't have to do any of the tutorials in any specific order. It's totally up to you. So here's a video. If I play it, though, you won't actually hear the volume. So I won't do that, but you guys can check them out. They're very clear. Yeah, we do our best to make them as useful and as targeted as possible for our audience. So onto the text version of the tutorial. We basically try to cover all aspects, in this case, about sharing on Facebook. So status updates, we like to bold important words that they have to click on and how to use the site. We have, all of our tutorials have a ton of screenshots with bright red boxes that highlight the different areas of that screenshot, of that image that you need to see. Yeah, so in this case, there's just a lot of content about all the different ways that you can share photos and sharing links, sharing your location, posting on a friend's timeline, just all the different ways that you can do it. So, and then at the bottom, we have this mark as completed. So once you feel like you've completed, so it's a self-paced course. So you mark them as you feel like you've understood the topic. So I'll do that now, and that'll change to a green button, or at least it should change to, oh, there it goes. So now the tutorial is completed. So if I go back to the course page, it should say 9 out of 18 done. Yeah, so there it is. So it basically just stays up to date as you work your way through. And a couple other things to point out. You can share any of our pages through these social sharing icons on the left side of the page. They're also at the top of our tutorial pages. You can print the tutorial anytime as well, and this is where you would, if you want to use our materials for your library, this is a great, easy way to produce a PDF of the tutorial, and then you can basically just print it up and share it with your students. You can also use this service to email it as well. So wow, it's already 38 minutes after. Last page I will show is the My Courses page. This is kind of the hub page that shows you all of the courses you've signed up for and started completing tutorials for. So my active courses and then my completed courses. I haven't actually completed this, but once it's 18 of 18 on Facebook, that will move to the bottom and you can access the completed courses from this section. So I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, I just encourage you to check out the website and let me know if you have any questions or suggestions. You can email me at steve@techboomers.com anytime with feedback about how we can improve the site. I'm always looking, since we are such a new website, a new company, always looking to improve it from our partners, especially libraries. So getting back to the slide deck. So onto the kind of why we're here, how Techboomers can help librarians and libraries teach digital literacy. For one, as I mentioned, it's a great resource just to point patrons towards. Maybe you don't have a course or a class to teach the website that they want to learn how to use. If they come in to want to learn how to use Groupon, for example, and maybe you're not familiar with it, so you can't really give them too much advice, or you're too busy, just point them towards Techboomers, tell them about the website, and they can kind of start learning on their own. One of the most important things that I think we're doing for libraries, as I mentioned, is saving them the time and effort of preparing training materials for websites that are constantly changing. Like I said, use our tutorials, print them up, share our videos, And you know, one of our big goals is to take that burden off of your backs as much as possible. Since you don't have to produce the tutorials, then you don't have to pay for software to create training videos, kind of a side benefit there potentially. And also, I've learned, I wouldn't have thought of this myself, but a number of librarians have mentioned that Techboomers can also be a great training resource for the staff at your library, maybe the ones that aren't as experienced using computers. Now we'll go into a little more details about each of these. So one of the easiest ways to encourage people to visit Techboomers is to add links to Techboomers on your website. And to be honest, that is one of the ways, if you like what we're doing and you want to do us a favor, scratch our back, if you're using our tutorials and you just think Techboomers could be a valuable resource for your visitors, linking to Techboomers does help us quite a bit when it comes to search engine optimization and driving traffic to our site through search. So some of the ways that you can link to Techboomers is on the homepage. That's kind of a no-brainer. Not obviously, you probably are not going to be putting it at the top of your homepage, but some of our partners have put it in like a side column or in the main section near the bottom. It's just an easy way. Usually they'll put up our logo along with the link. It's an easy way for users just to spot the link and to access our website through yours. A footer link is another great way to do it because in a footer, footers appear on every page. So it's a great way that you can just say to your visitors, go to our website and then go down all the way to the bottom and look for the Techboomers link. A similar way to do that so that it's on every page, I don't have it on here, but it's through our menu. If you have, let's say, a resources main menu item that has a drop-down, a few of our partners have added us just a link directly to Techboomers from that drop-down menu. Other types, course listings page. This is actually one that some of our nonprofit partners are doing. And this is actually very similar to what the link Daniel provided, just basically a list of the courses on Techboomers that you think your visitors would like to access. And the resource that he has is basically a huge course listing page and resource page for not just Techboomers links, but for GCF Learn Free and a lot of other websites as well. So we recommend, putting together those types of pages can be very useful for your visitors. And then there's your standard resource pages that you already have, computer classes. Every library's website have a different name for them, which is cool. But computer classes, technology training, online resources, etc. And also if you have resource pages dedicated to seniors or adult programs, Techboomers can also be added to those as a useful link for people on those pages. And lastly, this includes links, but also writing blog posts. And one thing to mention is that we do a lot of guest posting for library and nonprofit partners. So if your library has a blog and you'd like us to write some guest posts for them, we'd be happy to. We've written over about 25 guest posts so far since we launched for all types of websites. So if you're interested, send me an email at steve@techboomers.com. And I will send you a list of all sample blog posts that we've done for our partners, and we'll take it from there if that's something that interests you, if you like what we're writing. So recommending and sharing it with patrons, as I mentioned.
Excuse me, Steve. We had another question from Samantha. Do the folks creating the content have a background in education?
Not really. I don't myself. Corbin, he has some experience. He's actually a recent graduate and a fantastic writer. He's really learned on the go, and we have worked with a lot of people in the digital literacy space and got a lot of early feedback. So that's been kind of a training process with Corbin. He does have some experience with instructional learning. Like he had a course on that at his school, but I wouldn't say we have a professional background. So for those that do, if you have any recommendations on how we can improve them to improve our tutorials and courses, please do send me an email directly to my personal. I'd love to have a conversation about how we can improve them. So recommending and sharing with patrons, word of mouth, sharing the information about Techboomers in newsletter and social media. We are producing flyers and postcards and bookmarks that our designers working on hopefully this week and next week, but they'll be ready soon, so we can send those to you guys if you want to hand them out at your library, or it would be even easier if we just send you a PDF file for a flyer and you could put that up. We're open to a lot of ideas like that. And one thing to mention, we also have a weekly email. It's a weekly newsletter that we send out to our partners. We launch our new course on Monday at noon every week. And on Tuesday morning, we send out a weekly email to our partners that tells them about the course that we just launched and also recommends other popular courses and tutorials. Our partners actually requested this as a way to know what's going on with Techboomers so that they can post about it in social media without having to always be checking our website for what's new. If you would like to join this mailing list, please email me at steve@techboomers.com, and I'll just quickly add you, and you'll get the first one next Tuesday morning. So, as I mentioned, one of the ways that we're trying to help librarians is leveraging our content to, in one case, supplement your existing programs with our tutorials. So if you have a course on Facebook that hasn't been updated, your training materials haven't been updated for a while, and you've noticed a lot of the, the Facebook interface or the features have changed, maybe you can start using some of our tutorials instead and replacing them slowly, and then maybe just eventually just completely using our tutorials. The general idea being saving you the time of effort of keeping them up to date. Put that burden on us, because we only have to do it once, and we can do that for many libraries, if we just keep it up to date on our site, which we plan to do. So same goes for the videos. Also, you could integrate the Techboomers website and the course functionality with your students in your courses, like maybe run a class in which students come in to actually use Techboomers and learn on their own, and then you're there to support them. You can also assign tutorials for homework to encourage continued learning at home. Maybe you have a kind of a 2-hour introduction to Facebook seminar where you just talk about the useful features, and maybe they create an account. Afterwards, once it's done, you can maybe recommend that they go to Techboomers and complete the tutorials on Facebook privacy and maybe a couple on how to use features. It's a great way to kind of get them continuing learning on their own at home. So in addition to supplementing your existing programs, you can obviously create new classes and programs with our course content. Those are a number of the popular, some of the popular website courses that we offer. We went through them already, so I won't focus too much on this. But again, use our content however you want for your courses. And I mentioned this briefly, actually a couple times, but in chatting with a number of library partners and nonprofit partners, they saw some opportunity with having a different type of session or a different type of class environment in which students are encouraged to come in with their own devices or maybe use a library's device like an iPad or a desktop computer or laptop, and then students simply choose a topic on Techboomers and work their way through the tutorials and then ask questions as they come up. That way, one single librarian or digital literacy teacher can teach, maybe up to 6.
Okay, looks like Steve has temporarily dropped off the recording, or at least Steve, if you can hear us, hear me, your audio has dropped out completely. And so this would probably be a good time if you have had questions about any part of the presentation to go ahead and type them into chat. Is anyone else hearing Steve? Steve, your audio blanked out for like the last 30 seconds.
Oh, did it? Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you fine now.
Oh, okay. So I was just talking a little bit about the drop-in classes where you can just encourage students to come in and just start using Techboomers and learning on Techboomers and then supporting them when they have questions. It's a great way to run a class that you don't actually have to prepare any materials for, and you can teach more students at the same time, and it encourages self-learning. So that's where I kind of left off, I think. So one of the last main slides, I added this actually just a couple days ago. Usually when I'm speaking with a new potential partner, a librarian or a nonprofit digital literacy teacher, they always eventually ask me, so what's in it for you guys? Why are you offering all this content for free? So there's a couple of reasons. One, we just see libraries and other digital literacy organizations that do tech training in person just as great long-term partners that they can be early adopters, they can help build awareness and recommend Techboomers to their students. So it's just a natural fit in that sense. As I mentioned, the links are a huge asset for us, so we're always appreciative when our partners like what we do and appreciate the content that we're offering. If they want to repay us, adding a link to their website or multiple links is a great way that helps us. But overall, I think, and this is really important to us, I really believe that, we're all in this digital literacy space together. And, the more we work together, the more people that will be adopting technology. And, I think there's over about 13,000 libraries in North America, and most of them offer some kind of Facebook training. And for each individual library, essentially 13,000 people, potentially at least, creating content for a Facebook course. It just seems so unnecessary if we have all that, we have up-to-date content on our own. So why wouldn't we make the lives of our partners and other people that are trying to work with digital literacy and encourage it and teach it, just why wouldn't we do that? It's just something that it's a no-brainer for us. So that's the end of that. So Daniel, if we want to put up the poll, or actually no, I was going to put up the poll, I think. So as I mentioned, we want to let you guys choose between these 7 different courses. These are some of the ones that have been most recommended. We do have the content ready, the tutorials ready for a couple of these. So if you guys choose those ones, we might even have it up this Monday. But if not, it will definitely be up the following Monday. So I will add the poll. Manage panels. Bear with me for a second, please. Okie dokie, open poll. So I think possibly on your interface, you might see the ability to vote right now. Oh, nice, people are definitely doing that. Awesome. So the poll goes on for, I guess we have about 5 minutes. So everybody, I think there's 26 of you, so please start voting. And in the meanwhile, or in the meantime, I just want to open up for any other questions. As I mentioned, there's a link at the very bottom, slideshare.net / my username, SteveBlack327 / Techboomers / or those aren't dashes, those are slashes, I guess, but you'll see it there. Techboomers ASL webinar. You can access this entire slide deck there. You can download it or just view it from your browser there. And then again, my email address. I love having conversations with librarians that are in the digital literacy space, or maybe just those that are interested in digital literacy or want to start doing some programs at their libraries. So please email me anytime. I'd be happy to hop on a call or exchange emails. And with that, yeah, I guess if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them about Techboomers or digital literacy in general, or if you have other recommendations for websites and apps to create courses around, I'd love to hear them. Zinio definitely looks to be a popular one, so yeah, we'll definitely move that up on the list a little bit. Oh, I see Harmony. Hi, Harmony. You have a question. I think you sent that to me privately, though, but you like the idea of having audio available where it can be read to, where it can read the tutorial to people, yeah. Yeah, totally. Just having the audio itself would probably be very useful. It's an interesting feature. I don't think anybody's recommended that. They've liked videos and have recommended more videos in the past, but not just the audio file. That's interesting. Just wanted to say that I think it's cool that you list your mom as a staff member in charge of testing. Well, she was the inspiration for all of this, and she is our #1 tester for sure. She she doesn't like giving me negative feedback, so a lot of times I have to really tell her to, just destroy our tutorials and give me all the negative stuff as possible so that we can improve them. But she's my mom, so she doesn't like to say that kind of stuff. But she's a great tester, and yeah, some of my aunts and uncles are starting to test more and more now as well. Will you send a live link to the slides and webinar? So maybe I'll let Daniel. I will type up the link right now in the chat window, slideshare.net. And then I think Daniel's going to be sending out a link to the webinar on YouTube. And then maybe in there he can also include the link to the slide deck that I'm typing up right now. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, looks to be good. So there's the link directly. You can click from the chat box. Oh, and there's the thing too.
And I'm hoping to have the recording up by the end of the day, and if not, definitely by Monday. And I'll send a link to Steve so he can post on Digital Learn.
Yeah, sounds great. Okay, we have a question from Adam. It's a long one, so I won't read it out loud, but I'll just read it to myself and then answer if it's whatever he asks. Okay, yeah, that's a great question. I think on one of our recent webinars too, I connected with someone that focuses on teaching digital literacy to the younger generation. I think lynda.com might actually serve that pretty well. Some of the content on there might be overwhelming. A lot of it, probably most of it will be, but they do have a lot more basic content, like how to use Facebook and, also like how to use things like Photoshop and, GCF Learn Free. With computer skills, I think Microsoft Office is something you definitely want to be teaching, that age group. GCF Learn Free has great courses on those. Lynda.com also has courses on those, but it's paid. I don't know. Couldn't tell you which ones are better, but when one is free and one is not, I'd probably go try out the free one first. Yeah, so that's my best advice for that. I'm not sure of any other ones, to be honest. Jessica asks, any tips on increasing the confidence of new computer users, both confidence in security, privacy, and in what they're capable of doing? My best advice is just encourage them as much as possible. And, obviously, once they start doing things, not congratulate them, but, give them props for, for what they are doing and what they are accomplishing, and just constantly encourage them. And I think a big part of it too is making things relevant for them, and finding websites and apps that really will improve their quality of life in different ways. And the best way to do that is just by having conversations with them and telling them about different websites and apps, and just letting them get out there and try things. When it comes to security and privacy, the best way to build that confidence is just with education in it. So we have some very detailed courses on those that I mentioned in our Internet 101 category. And I would just encourage them to read through those as much as possible, and always err on the side of caution for sure, especially when it comes to opening up emails from people that you don't know, or anything that looks suspicious. Just err on the side of caution. Use tools like antivirus software. If they don't know how to, know what they are or how to use them or set them up, bring someone in or ask someone who does to set that up for them. And I think that will give them a little bit more confidence, so that if they do end up, clicking on a bad link, they'll get a warning. And Kaspersky is what I use. And if ever I navigate to a dark corner of the internet by accidentally clicking a link that takes you to an unsafe website, they tell me about it right away. Yeah. Mouser size. Yes, I've seen a number of those tutorials. Kathy, maybe you can provide a link of where they can access that. And another thing too, I forget where I heard this or read it or saw it or whatnot, but starting off with very, very basic computer, using computer programs, like if they know how to play cards or solitaire, just getting someone on a computer playing solitaire, and just clicking around, getting used to the mouse, starting off with those very basic programs that aren't the internet, so it's not like these scary viruses and security is an issue or anything like that, but and getting them using, programs like that, Mouser size. I'm not sure if that's the one I've heard of or seen before, but there's a lot of different ones like that out there. That's my best advice. Oh, and the poll results are in, and it is LinkedIn in a landslide with over 30-something% of the votes. Okay, and I also have good news, because we have the tutorials for LinkedIn almost complete. So I think Corbin and I will get those finalized this weekend, and we will post them up Monday at noon. Oh, PBCL. I think, is that Palm Beach County? Kathy, is that where you're from? Because I've noticed you guys have added some links to us, and I really appreciate that. I don't know if I've connected with you directly. I chat with so many different librarians that it's tough to remember, but all the names of everybody. But Oh, okay, you're from Maryland. Never mind. Treehouse has some more advanced courses on coding and web design, but it's also paid. Yeah, I've heard about Treehouse. They have good stuff. And going back to your question, I guess, yeah, you're sending that right to Adam. I thought actually Adam posted that, but I can't recommend enough for people that are, in that 17 to 24 age group to really apply themselves as much as possible when it comes to digital literacy, not just, the basics, but using sites like Lynda and even Coursera and sites like Udemy. People, you can really just build skills that can help you find good jobs as well. I've met people and read about people that have just only learned how to use technology and Photoshop and, learn how to do web design just by following courses online. And that's got them a job, and that's just fantastic. It's free life skills, and digital literacy skills can really make a difference in a young person's life. So I certainly recommend that as much as possible. Are there any other questions? I think, yeah, we're just over an hour now. Happy to answer any other questions if there are any, and if not, I guess maybe we'll wrap things up.
Okay, well, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate the time you took to come and share about your site and explaining your revenue model and privacy policies, because those are definitely things of concern to librarians. So if there are no other questions, we can go ahead and close things out for today.
That sounds great. And again, Daniel, thank you for putting this together. It's been great connecting with you and Freya at the Alaska State Library. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much. So